What's up, Mafia Nation? Welcome back. It's LVT.
I'm MAGZ.
And we're here to do another reaction video for you. Let's get it.
All right.
It's early in the night and we're already freaking delirious. This is going to be great. I hope you guys enjoy it.
This is going to be some more Sabaton history. Winged Hussars, the story of the Polish Cavalry. Listen, Linda! Anyway, I always love these Sabaton histories, and we were doing these to match up the songs that we had done by donation. But this is all about what the Polish did during World War II. And how they did not lay down, as everybody had assumed that they did.
They did not.
They did not.
They actually put up a really, really decent fight and was like, F you, my guy.
Yeah.
So.
Sure. Excited to see how this one goes. But before we check this video out,
make sure you subscribe.
Smash on that notification bell.
And like, comment, and share with your friends.
So everybody can do the same.
I almost missed both of those cues because I was burping.
Oh my lord.
Sorry about that a little. There's so much.
It was the most desperate hour for Sabaton history.
And then, the Winged Hussars arrive!
Well, that was a quick intro. Stop hurting yourself.
Stop hurting yourself. Stop hurting yourself.
Contemporary spectators of the late 16th century wholeheartedly agreed that they had never seen such fine cavalry before, nor could they indeed compare such splendor to anything else in Europe at the time. On magnificent parade grounds, the Polish kings displayed the grandeur of their hussars, clad in highly decorated Terracina armor, with saddles and reins embroidered in gold and precious stones. They rode the finest breeds of horses, donning costumes.
It's still insane to me to think that in World War II, at the beginning of it, there were still countries using horses. Because when you think of World War II, you think of like tanks and all that fun stuff, but you don't think that some countries are still so not that advanced where they were using horses.
I don't know if it was necessarily all about the non-advancement. I'm sure that had some part of it, but I feel like a lot of it had to do with efficiency, because it's a lot easier to sneak a horse into somewhere than it is a tank.
No. I mean, yeah, but...
Yeah.
No, they were
horse, tank,
but no,
horse.
They were just using the tank. They were using the horses because they didn't advance that much to be able to have that many vehicles.
Yeah, well...
You gotta think.
I still feel
that was still the beginning of the century when the car had just been invented.
Maybe they just wanted friends, animal friends.
Wolves. They held long lances with large, colorful pennants at the tips, and to top it all off, an awe-inspiring pair of wings that arched from the end of their saddles over their heads, fluttered proudly in the wind. It is no wonder that so many romantic tales and a wide array of both true and fictitious legends had been spread around the courts of Europe of these men. The character of the Polish Winged Hussars was in fact a complex hybrid of Western and Eastern culture, coming from the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, geographically the largest country in Europe at the time. Originating in the heavily armored knights of the region in medieval times, they incorporated influences from Russia, the Byzantine Empire, and Mongol cavalry initially, and later from the Balkans and the Ottoman Empire. The influence from Serbian and Hungarian refugees settling there in the wake of the expanding Ottoman Empire began strongly influencing Polish cavalry in the 16th century. Polish noblemen began creating the new heavy hussar, who was equipped with mail shirts, large helmets, the typical Balkan shields, and long lances. The Transylvanian king Stefan Batory further standardized the hussars, ordering them to drop the shield in favor of a thick breastplate.
Sorry, guys.
The new heavy hussars indeed became units with which to be
rusty, huh?
On the battlefield against
I
the
scratched
Habsburgs,
my nose.
Moldovans,
That's all that happened.
Muscovites, and Swedes, Polish hussars achieved great triumphs over their enemies. However, by the 17th century, the Winged Hussars seemed to be more a product of a bygone age. Most European nations began abandoning the heavy lancers in favor of pike and firearm formations, and a mix of various cavalry.
Nice mustache, my guy.
The experience of the 30 Years' War showed that a new era of massed firepower, like the Swedish brigades of Gustav Adolf, easily countered the direct charge of the Lancers. Was this the end of the Polish Winged Hussars? The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth faced crisis after crisis, fighting invasions from the east, from Tartars and Ukrainian Cossacks, who destroyed many Polish regiments. It seemed like the Winged Hussars were doomed to the dustbin of history. Crown Hetman and later King Jan III Sobieski, however, thought differently.
Okay, so this is a story from before the World Wars. I'm still not mad at it.
In the face of the re-emerging threat of the Ottoman Empire's expansion from the Balkans into the heart of Europe, new Hussar regiments were to be raised, reviving the spirit of the Winged Hussars once more. Sobieski called upon all worthy sons of Poland, urging patriotic nobles to voluntarily fight against the Ottoman menace and raise their own troop. The state, in fact, contributed very little in reality, and the noblemen and local leaders had to cover most of the expenses themselves. It was advertised as a career investment, though. See, they provided horses, armor, and weapons, and they would serve the king in campaign, and in turn were supposed to recover their investment with war booty and lucrative state offices granted by the monarchy. The men accepted into Hussars would make a contract where it would take them up to 2.5 years to pay off their arms and weapons. And if they survived that long, they would earn themselves money and prestige. It was a complex, flawed system, but for the time it worked. The typical Hussars wore large protective helmets, often embellished with ostrich feathers. They were equipped with Hungarian-style sabers or Polish straight swords and protected by a lobster-style breastplate engraved with religious imagery. Now, everyone is of course more interested in the history of the wings. Historians still argue, though, about the exact use of the wings. By the 17th century, they were usually mounted on the back of the saddle, but the argument is whether they were actually worn in battle or were just for show, like the embroidered saddles and decorated swords, or the expensive bows, which were in turn exchanged for wheel-lock pistols when on campaign. Sadly, we are missing contemporary battle accounts in that regard. But historians in favor of the battlefield theory emphasize that the wings were carried like the leopard skins into battle to frighten not just the enemy, but also their horses, easily affected by unusual sights. They would come down on their enemies like predatory pegasi. Humor me, okay? Predatory pegasi. That's what they did. The actual important symbol of the Polish Hussar in the field, however, was his lance. Over 5 meters long, 16 feet, the Polish lance was clearly a one-use weapon. It was made out of light wood, usually pine or fir, and hollowed in parts to make it even lighter. This was fitting for the Hussar style of fighting. It was often said that the Hussars were only good for one day of fighting, but that one day would be the decisive one. And such a day came in the year 1683. In July, the Ottoman army had once again marched northwards, threatening the Habsburg realms and the city of Vienna. An estimated 170...
Like, in reality, though, could you imagine carrying around a stick that's 6 feet long?
16 feet
long.
No,
Sorry.
I'm good.
And, like, it's hollowed out in certain parts. It's still gotta be so heavy. Like, that's carrying around a freaking branch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, all day. And being responsible for stabbing people, essentially, with it.
Yeah, and they only worked really one time, because after that they would explode.
Right, because they're hollowed out in certain spots. Like, something that's hollowed out, if you impact it with pressure, it's gonna crack and then break. That's why cars, when they're hit, they because they're not a solid thing.
Yeah, I couldn't, I always wondered how it was using lances and stuff. Like, that's one thing that's I've always wondered, because you always see them doing them in the competitions, the tournaments where they're using the lances, but, like, using it in a real battle situation has to be more of a hindrance than anything.
Yeah, because, like, it's gonna slow you down. What if you accidentally hit, like, your team?
Sorry.
My bad. Sorry, guys.
I mean, I guess it helped, take down their horses or get past shields and stuff, but still...
The horses didn't do nothing.
Well, no, they didn't, but Guys on horseback were harder to hit than guys not on horseback.
I understand, but no matter what war movie or whatever I watch and there's horses that get killed for no reason, it makes me very sad.
Very sad. Very sad indeed.
Very sad.
Threatening the Habsburg realms and the city of Vienna. An estimated 170,000 Ottoman troops lay siege to Vienna, easily outnumbering the mere 16,000 regular defenders. But despite the clear disparity of forces, the Viennese defenders held out, defying the Ottoman guns for weeks. That heroic last stand, however, could not last forever, as food supplies and the strength of the defending soldiers and citizens began to run out. On the 6th of September, Sobieski crossed the Danube north of Vienna with a force 20,000 strong. He would honor his promise to the Holy League to fight the Ottoman menace once more. At the same time, a large Holy Roman Imperial force under Charles of Lorraine was marching south as well. They would unite their forces under the command of the Polish king. And among his men marched the Polish Winged Hussars. By this time, Ottoman sappers had come dangerously close to opening up a breach for the Ottoman troops to take the city by storm. Digging tunnels beneath the walls and filling them with explosives was quite literally a burning fuse under the city. The Ottomans would eventually be successful, despite the valiant resistance of Vienna's inhabitants, and it seemed their fate was already decided. But then, one day, on the far-off horizon, the Winged Hussars
Oh, how dramatic
arrived.
he's getting about it. He must really like the Hussars.
He's a really, really good storyteller in general.
Yeah. You guys deaf yet?
I'm very sorry. I'm
On
gonna stop
September
touching
12th,
things.
King Jan Sobieski
Sit on
and
my
his
hands.
Winged Hussars came to the relief of the besieged city. The battle had begun the day before, and the troops of Charles of Lorraine were already punching hard into the Ottoman lines. The Ottomans launched several counterattacks, though, preventing the Imperials from breaking through. Ottoman sappers hurriedly were filling new tunnels with explosives, trying to blow the walls, but at the last minute, these were found and destroyed by the Viennese defenders. The next day, as the Polish infantry joined the Imperials, the Winged Hussars moved through the cover of the woods, approaching the main Turkish redoubt. Preparing for the decisive strike, the deeply Catholic Hussars held a holy mass, steeled themselves with prayer, and their traditional battle hymn, Bogorodzica, Mother of God. By 4 in the afternoon, together with a group of Imperial horsemen, the Polish cavalry stormed down the hill. In all, they were 18,000 strong, probably the largest cavalry charge in European history. Sobieski personally led the attack at the head of his Winged Hussars. At about 100 paces, the real charge began. At 50 paces, their horses were driven to full gallop as the Winged Hussars lowered their lances and smashed into the terrified defenders. Lances splintered. Horses trampled men beneath them. Soldiers were crushed and thrown aside. The sight of impaled men before them terrified the men in the rearward units, and their morale crumbled.
Oh, man.
Most of the Ottoman troops were not protected by plate armor, and their formations broke apart. Some Winged Hussars dropped their broken lances and reached for the swords and sabers that hung from knots at their wrists. Others took up war hammers or pistols as they drove through the disordered enemy to safety. They regrouped for another charge, wave after wave, into the Ottoman troops, as more troops of the Holy League joined the battle. Vespasian Koszowski, in his Song of Vienna Liberated, describes it so: "No sooner does a hussar lower his lance than a Turk is impaled on its spike, which not only disorders, but terrifies the foe. That blow,
Vision.
which cannot be defended against or deflected, oft transfixing 2 persons at a time.
Wow.
Others flee in eager haste from such sight, like flies in a frenzy." After their decisive victory in the
Oh,
Battle
he
of
just answered
Vienna,
my question on how to
famed
use the
Polish
lances.
Hussars grew once more
Make some
throughout
kebabs.
Europe. The Holy Roman Emperor personally invited them to his court for a demonstration of their skills. And the Russian Tsar raised his own 1,000-strong Hussar army under a Polish renegade. Vienna, however, despite being one of the greatest ones, would also be one of the last victories the Hussars achieved. Soon afterward, the Commonwealth, under pressure both from foreign powers and from within, started coming apart. The huge costs of defensive wars contributed to a general financial decline. There were rebellions, and it was hard to really afford the expensive hussars anymore. Nonetheless, the Winged Hussars managed to survive well into the 18th century and would be deployed in the Great Northern War. But their decisive role on the battlefield lay behind them. Their imagery, however, survived, and especially in the 19th century, began to re-emerge as a symbol of Polish pride and identity, remembering them from a time when indeed no finer cavalry than the Polish Winged Hussars roamed the battlefields of Europe.
I'm very excited to hear this song.
Yes.
Whether or not the Winged Hussars arrived, this is the most
Hi,
requested
Pa.
song of all so far.
So
for
far
this.
for the Sabaton history, since we started it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this week actually, it's not this today, but this week actually is 1 year since the channel premiered last February 7th.
What you wanted the most, we saved for the 1 year anniversary.
How many Winged Hussar memes do you think guess how many Sabaton Winged Hussars memes there have been over the ages?
Ages. There's a lot of Sabaton memes about this because it's so easy. Like, you can do whatever. Like, you say, I was just out walking my dog. And then the Winged Hussars arrive! So there's always opportunity for the Winged Hussars to arrive in your life.
Do you know how the meme started or how in...
I think it's just because of the song.
Yeah.
I mean, we were like, when we were working on writing the song and the lyrics, we had this, da 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 da. You know, it's like, that is so clear for it. Then the Winged Hussars arrived, and it was just when we wrote it, it was like, damn, this is so perfect.
It's
This is
funny
the
because that's
catchiest
how
moment of the album.
that's how most musicians write. They have that da 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 da.
Yeah.
Like, Bob was helping me write my verse for a song that we're doing just a few days ago, and he's like singing me the melody he's got in his head. He's like, okay, but you gotta follow this, and it's so weird that, like, as musicians, that's so spot on to how most of us write.
Yeah.
We're just like da 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 da, and then we're like, oh, but this word could go here. So,
Yeah, you got the flow and the sound in your head. You just got to make the words match it.
yeah, you just gotta make other lyrics match up.
When we wrote it, it was like, damn, this is so perfect. This is the catchiest moment of the album.
You know, it's interesting because we're filming this just after the Sabaton cruise, so this is still 2019 when we're filming this, and you're seeing this in the future. I like that you did two completely different sets. That was really cool. That's really something for the fans.
I mean, on the Sabaton cruise, we always try to do something special because we don't have any big stages there.
Yeah.
We
Did he
can't
say
use any
Sabaton
pyrotechnical
cruise?
effects or anything because it's a ship. It's a quite small stage and very intimate with the people that are fortunate enough to get a ticket in time because they sell out instantly. But when
I
you
would
were on
imagine.
the ship and everything goes to hell,
Yeah.
then the Winged
Hussars. They did. They totally arrived. And it scared
I'm
the
done.
crap out of
Done.
us because suddenly
These
18,000
guys
guys
make
on
their
horses
memes.
turned up, and we're on a boat. So, whoa, boy.
They'd be everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be a new meme when the 18,000 Winged Hussars arrived and
when we're on a
took
boat.
the Sabaton cruise.
I took the Sabaton cruise. Like, Hussars, party of 18,000, your table's ready. Hussars. Nope, the Winged Hussars have not yet arrived.
But
See
they
what
will.
See what I did there?
All right, this was pretty funny episode. But it is
that
a
was a
great
cute
song,
attempt.
and it's a great story.
Yeah.
It's what I do all the time,
The
huh?
meme's brilliant. It is a great meme. too.
Yeah, the memes have created the
Oh,
legend.
wait,
of
hold
the
on.
song.
What do they have?
Yeah,
We'll
The
keep.
meme's brilliant. It is a great
The-
meme.
yeah, the memes have created the legend of the song now.
Well, thank you for today, and thanks for 1 year of Sabaton history.
Yes, thank you, and please remain supporting it because we want to continue for much longer time.
You see, we really enjoy doing that.
Yeah,
All right, see you next time.
see you.
Let the Winged Hussars arrive. Every time they turn the tide.
All right. right, everybody. Thank you for watching this week's episode. And don't forget to subscribe, become Patreon, and click the little bells and everything else that you need to do to become a fully supporter of this channel. Thank you for your support.
Click the little bells and everything.
I love how they all have like a separate outro and they're all essentially the messages. Yeah, you know what to do. Freaking do it.
Do it. Just.
I don't want to repeat myself 400 times. Okay, but before you say anything, I remembered to do an I Spy, and I remembered to not blow it for myself. So I'm going to give you guys 3 clues. I want you guys to tell me what I'm I Spying, okay? Small, round, black and white. A go.
Oh man, you're going to remember that a couple weeks from now.
I'm going to write it down in my notebook.
All right.
I have my I Spy notebook
Well,
last time.
now that she did that. Yeah, it was a cool story. Like I thought for some reason I thought it was going to be like during World War II, like everything else was, but it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's still cool to hear the idea of that and understand now like some of the imagery that you see in things about the wings. Because like I've seen the Horsemen before with the wings, and I never knew the story.
Yeah,
behind it.
I never did either. I've seen the memes.
I've seen the memes.
And I'm like, what does this mean? And then now I know what it means. So now I'm not as much of
Know your
uncultured
memes,
swine as
people.
I was before.
But yeah, I really don't know what else to say. Like, it's cool that they did that. It sucks that they died out so soon.
Yeah.
But I understand it's just
Yeah,
a
it
lot
was
of upkeep
short-lived, for sure.
and fighting with horseback and lances when, you know, guns and cannons are starting to be invented. It's not really...
I mean, as a civilization, we tend to lean towards the work smart, not hard route.
Yeah.
So.
It was dope, though, how they were able to clear out Vienna and everything like that and make a decisive action.
Mm-hmm. But I'm very excited because if you guys keep your eyes peeled, we'll also be watching the actual song for this. I don't know if they have a music video or just a live, but...
Pretty sure it was alive.
Okay. Well, then, you guys just keep your eyes looked out.
Just look out for it.
Yes. So...
But if you guys have any other recommendations, let us know in the comments below. Hit us up on the Discord or check out the donation link in the description below to get yourself bumped to the top of the list.
Right down by that donation link, there's also the link to our merch store, which we got some new stuff coming for you here in 2021, as well as all of our social media that has been scrolling below. That's where you can check us out behind the scenes and see what strange human beings we
I'm glad
are.
it's not just me.
No, we're delirious, y'all. We're sorry. It's been a long couple of days, but we miss you guys and we can't wait to see all your beautiful faces.
Yes.
Well, not your faces, but your words, but
Your beautiful words. Till next time, guys.
word faces.